It got colder.
If you say so.
It hasn't been this bad.
Oh, tonight it got... Yeah, it's colder tonight, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it...
I thought you meant since last time we were out here.
Oh, no, just tonight in general.
Yes, it's cold.
WandaVision.
Assessment?
Exciting. I'm glad we watched both episodes.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode... Like, I knew going in more or less, like, that it was going to be, like, this, like, really old sitcom style.
Right.
I knew that going in. I think that the first episode I was waiting for something a little more reveal-esque. Obviously, they're not going to give anything away right away in the first episode. But you didn't get too much, but you did have that one scene.
The very final one?
Not the very, very final one. Well, we'll get there. And then the second episode is when I really started to feel it.
Yeah. Kind of see what they're doing.
Well, and again, I'll explain a little more once we get there. I'm keeping things close to the chest, as it were. Okay. So, WandaVision, episode 1. That's what the episodes are called. Just episode 1.
Yeah.
So, just married, just moved in. It's like a kind of a Dick Van Dyke show or I Love Lucy-esque, sort of like your very, very early sitcom.
Yeah. You know, very kind of overacted and, oh, honey, and, you know, they walk into their new home and, you know, and there's a opening, it wasn't even a credit scene, but an opening song about just married, new town, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, it's interesting because within the context of the show, they have powers.
Right.
They have their powers still. So, you know, you get the character names are used in the opening credits.
Right. As it's saying, featuring, it would normally say like Dick Van Dyke or Lucille Ball, but it says Vision and Wanda
Maximoff.
Yeah. Maximoff.
Okay.
So already everything that's happening is in universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, doubly so.
Yeah. Sorry. You noted it's a very Weasley household with the magical cleanup.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's using her powers and stuff.
They break a dish and she
Yeah.
puts it back together, and she's got a rag cleaning a dish and everything.
So the day is August 23rd. It's marked with a heart on the calendar, but neither of them know what's special about the date. And you noted this has a very trickster, supernatural episode vibe.
Right. Like, they're acting in the context of the world they're in. They're acting very 50s sitcom husband and wife. They're not just going, what the hell? Where are the rest of the Avengers? You know, they're acting like they belong, but they don't understand why they're there or how they got there.
Yeah, they don't remember anything, and Vision even says, well, I literally can't forget anything. Like, he knows he's a machine.
Mm-hmm.
So then he goes to work, and she reminds him to change his face. Or she changes his face or something, like...
Right, I'm not sure.
His face changes from, you know, Vision to, like, normal Paul Bettany.
Right.
He leaves, and then there's a knock on the door, and it's Agnes, neighbor from the right. My right, not yours. Which...
Yeah, It may have been a vague nod to stage left versus audience left, stage right versus audience right, like, kind of telling you your perception is reversed.
Mm-hmm. also be a very subtle drop, maybe. Like, my right, not yours. Like, what I know to be right and true, not yours.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. So, like, not like... Well, obviously there's, like, nothing is as it appears to be, but also...
Oh, her personally?
Like...
Has a different understanding of what's happening than Wanda?
Or she's the villain.
Right. Okay.
Get there. She notes Wanda doesn't wear a ring. She doesn't remember how long that they've been together. So, Vision, and then they cut to Vision, he's working at computational services. And he said Yakety Sax playing. Yakety Yak.
That's the name of the song, Yakety Sax.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that was what was playing on the radio. When he said...
I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Yakety Sax is different. But yeah, Yakety Yak is... yeah, it was the song that was playing on the radio.
Yeah, nobody knows what the company does. Like, Vision just, like, did all this work because he's a computer and he can do that. And he's like, but what do we do? And his coworker's like, well, we, process.
We calculate the input and output of the company. So what do we do?
Yeah, what does the company do? And then his boss comes out of his office, and it's Mr. Hart. He's looking forward to this evening. And that's when Vision realizes that it's dinner with his boss is what the special occasion is. Hart.
Right.
And there's this commercial, Toastmate 200 by Stark Industries.
2000. I must have typoed.
Oh, 2000. Okay.
But yeah, it was like an in-universe commercial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
During the episode.
The Vision calls Wanda, and it's your typical miscommunication. Vision is prepared for his boss to come over, and Wanda is preparing for a romantic evening. Agnes comes through in a pinch. Agnes is very, like, busybody type, like, right, because Wanda's all, like, in sexy garb.
Right.
And they mentioned Segovia. Oh,
right.
She's from Segovia. European.
Yeah, so they kind of play off all of their quirks as, oh, it's just a Segovian thing.
Yeah. The Agnes comes over with, like, all the stuff to make this, like, really complicated meals, and, oh, do you need help? And, like, doesn't want to leave, and Wanda gets her out the door because Wanda's going to use her magic to make dinner, but it goes a little wonky. She overcooks the chicken, and she tries to reverse it, and then they become eggs.
It's weird that it became a bunch of eggs.
Yeah. And, the lobsters, she sends them flying out the window.
Whoops.
Vision over-tenderizes the meat. It's all going bad. And you got... Is it Donna Jo Rupp? Whoever played Kitty in that 70s show is,
Mrs. Hart.
Mrs. Hart. And, she keeps trying to go help, and, like, it's just, typical
50s sitcom,
crazy,
awkward situation, and,
they're a little cringy. You're like,
trying to distract her so they don't see what's going on in the kitchen, and silly things happen. He starts singing, so he sings Yakety Yak. Because it's, like, the only song he knows.
Yeah. Then Mrs. Hart all of a sudden just starts saying, I'm feeling lightheaded. Implying that she's so hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah, that is actually weird. Because Mr. Hart was like, yes, because you're hungry. Like, he keeps kind of interjecting, where's the food? We're so hungry.
Yeah.
But she's just saying, I'm so lightheaded. Like, it's a little bit odd.
Yeah. But Wanda comes through with Brinner, breakfast for dinner, and European.
Yeah.
So they sit down to dinner, and they're peppered with questions. How long? When did you get married? And when did you move here? Where did you move here from? And when are you gonna have kids? And it's kind of the sort of really, but they can't answer any of the questions, and they just kind of stall out.
Yeah.
It's like they both kind of. They're looking, like, kind of at each other, but also, like, far off.
Right. It's almost like line.
Yeah. Like, and Mr. Hart is getting so worked up, he ends up choking. And Mrs. Hart, in typical Kitty Foreman fashion, she's just like, oh, stop. Like, and she's kind of laughing, but then it's like she still has this laughter on her face.
Right.
But she sounds so...
Desperate,
yeah. Which was phenomenally acted.
Actually, yeah.
Like, all of the acting in this has been outstanding.
Yeah.
If nobody gets any Emmy nods for this, like... It's so... Because you definitely get lost in the fake story that they're telling.
Right.
They play that off so well, but then when it kind of starts to... When the glitch in the Matrix happens, as it were, you're just feeling the
surreal,
the confusion, what's going on. So, Mr. Hart is choking and he falls over, and Wanda just looks up and she's like, Vision, help. Or help him.
Help him.
Help him. And she says so authoritatively and, like, out of character for this fake character that she's playing. And he gets up and he does his vision thing and he pulls out a strawberry.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. But I'm thinking back on it, what does a strawberry look like?
Red.
And?
Heart.
His name is Mr. Hart.
Huh.
There's a heart on the calendar.
Interesting.
I don't know what that could mean. But it's very...
Yeah. With this show right now, everything that makes you stop is just kind of, like, suspicious. And is that Are they saying something?
Mm-hmm.
And when she said, Vision, help him, it almost sounded echoey. Like, there was something about the focus, like, it was... I don't know if she was communicating telepathically or something like that.
Right.
That's the way it was kind of filmed.
Right. But yeah, why did you come here? Mrs. Hart strangely says, stop it, over and over. Then they get through all that. Well, would you look at the time? And just like that, they leave.
Like, they suddenly... all the tension is gone.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a little bit of leftover tension, like, we gotta get out of here. It is a very kind of urgent, like, we gotta go. We gotta go. Like, something's been compromised. Suddenly Mr. Hart is really impressed with Vision. It ends lightly. So the Harts leave, and they sit down on the couch, and they wonder why they don't remember anything, but it doesn't really seem to bother them all that much, so they just like, well, this is the anniversary of our first dinner, and Yakety Yak is our song, and what about the rings? And she magics rings on them, and so they like cuddle down, and then Vision has something in his hand, like a remote of some kind, and he pushes a button to end the episode, which there appears to be someone watching.
The button, actually, my initial thought was that it was triggering the laugh track. Because, like, right when he pushed it, the laugh track ranked up, but then the episode ended, so I wasn't sure if it was ending the episode or if it was like a laugh track box, which is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely weird.
Yeah.
So then the actual end credits play like the end of a full Marvel movie and last 7 minutes? And the end credit effects are created by pixels on a TV screen.
Yeah, the red, what colors are they?
Red, green, and yellow, or red, blue, and... Is it the primary colors?
I can't remember if it is primary colors or not, but I feel like there's a green in there, which isn't primary. But anyway, they're pixels on a TV screen.
So maybe red, blue, and green?
Maybe.
The green is interesting.
Yeah.
And when you think about old TV, there's always a little green tinge. Like when you watched on like one of those old televisions. I remember being a kid, like going right up to the screen.
Same.
And like you could see each individual color, like on the TV screen itself.
Yep. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Because I did the same thing to a TV when I was a kid.
That's a memory I haven't thought of in very many years. Things our children will never experience.
Right.
So yeah. And then there's another credit sequence, but nothing end credity.
Nothing special about that one.
No. So we decided to do episode 2, because they're just little, like, half-hour-ish episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really named episode 2, previously on WandaVision. So we get I don't even think we got a recap, though, did we?
No, we did.
Okay. So then, cuts to this episode, and they're in bed, and, it's the separate beds. And Wanda's hair is different. Wanda heard a banging sound. And it was a very unsettling banging sound. It wasn't like, the kind of banging sound you would hear in a, early television sitcom. It sounded actually threatening.
Yeah.
It's quite scary. So she hears the banging sound, and Vision gets up and he's like, I don't see anything but your rose bushes. And then they hear it again, and he hides under the blankets.
Right, like this robotic super being.
In the last 2 episodes I've noticed he acts very bumbling, very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like he's maybe overcompensating, but it's very weird. So they hear this banging, and Wanda's just like, ugh, for crying out loud. She magically opens the curtains, and it's a branch banging on the window. And speaking of banging, they squish their beds together and get under the covers after looks, which I think would have been very risque back in those days.
I mean, there's a reason the beds are separate in the TV shows back in the day.
Exactly. Then we get another opening credits thing, but it's different. The last one was very I Love Lucy-esque, but this one is like Bewitched.
Yeah.
Maybe also a little bit of I Dream of Jeannie. It's hard to differentiate between I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched, but I think this is clearly Bewitched because she has more of an Elizabeth Montgomery feel. She played...
Yeah, I figured that out.
And, looks a little more like her.
Fair enough.
Her name is Elizabeth.
Sure.
So the episode gets going, and they're practicing for a magic show for a fundraiser, and you realize they're in a different house. Like the setup is different than the first house, and it was, more 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, I was like looking at the way their house was set up, and I'm like, our house is from the 60s. Trying to see if I could find similarities, but... So, Wanda's talking about how she's going to meet the planning committee. She wants they're taking part in this talent show. They want to become more a part of the community because they're living there now, which I thought was an interest. She's like, this is our home now.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And I want to feel like we belong. And Vision's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the library to, talk to the neighborhood watch, and ask about security around the town.
Yeah.
So we go outside and we see that the address is 2800.
Yeah, which I couldn't remember if we saw the address in the first episode, but I figured I'm going to start writing down every number I see.
Yeah. Wanda hears a suspicious bang outside and finds an object in color, because everything's been black and white up to this point. It's a toy helicopter in red and yellow, which kind of makes you think, like, Iron Man sort of thing. Circle logo with a sword in it, numbered 57. And then Agnes comes over and startles Wanda. Agnes brings her rabbit, Senior Scratchy. And that's when we notice this weird green hue keeps randomly coming in. So Agnes and Wanda head off for this committee meeting, and Agnes is like, she's like warning Wanda about Dottie.
Yeah.
Who's Dottie is this woman who runs the neighborhood, basically. And she's like, oh, okay. And she's like, oh, is it my outfit? And Agnes is like, well, yes, but there's no time to fix that. Wanda's the only one wearing pants. All the other women are wearing, like, dresses and skirts and stuff. So, anyway, Dottie, you want to get in good with Dottie because, club, entrance, into, like, country clubs and all, good schools and stuff like that. Like, she's in charge. So they're in this.
Another children reference. When are you going to have children? And then, good school districts. Well, I don't think we have to worry about that anytime soon.
Yeah. And this talent show that they're putting on is for the children. It keeps, like, emphasizing for the children.
And then everyone repeats, for the children.
Yeah, it's kind of weird and
very,
creepy.
very, very hot fuzz.
Yeah.
The greater good.
Yeah, so this committee meeting starts, and holy F, it's Anya from Buffy is Dottie, Emma Caulfield. And she doesn't really play very different characters, does she? I have a drinking problem. Lovely. So, the meeting ends and Wanda's cleaning up and she's being kind of snide, but also very polite. She's like, I'm so happy you chose me to help with the cleanup. And
or no, it's like, I'm so honored.
Yeah.
Dottie, you should be. Wanda's just kind of and she looks at the camera and...
Yeah. And then Wanda's like, and again, it's so in character for, the type of show the type of episode that you're watching. And she's like, I'm so sorry, I feel like we got off on the wrong foot, and she's she's being very congenial and polite, but even at that point, there's this great underlying sense of tension that's starting to build.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really powerful.
And you have to know the character to understand, there's danger behind those eyes. She's acting in this very polite and congenial 60s TV show way, but you can just feel just below the surface, she's like, I can end you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and we realize that Wanda's eyes, like beneath that whole black and white thing, it almost looks like they might be red.
They don't. Yeah, because you know how you can kind of determine color a little bit in black and white, and her eyes don't look normal.
No, they don't. And actually, I jumped ahead a little bit because we're still in the meeting at this point. Wanda meets Geraldine, a young black woman, who looks as confused as Wanda. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't really know why I'm here either. Like, she actually says that, and it's very pointed.
Yeah. It's almost pleading, like, you know, she says it in a aloof way, but you, again, really good undertone acting, you can just sense it. I really don't know why I'm here.
Yeah. And then you've got Agnes in the background. Is like Agnes scares me more than anyone right now because she's playing this kind of ditzy, a little bit of a busybody. You know, she's like handing out booze and just like, I don't know how anyone can be sober for this. You know, but she's very off-putting.
She's kind of like the trickster.
Yeah.
And I have another thought on that, but I want to wait a little bit. But
Yeah. I think we might have the same thought.
Okay.
But, you know, and again, the acting, like, Catherine Hahn is doing a great job of, like, kind of sort of putting you off. Like, she's not doing anything overt.
No.
But whatever she's doing is so subtle that you're just like, I don't know.
And she's interjecting herself a lot.
Yeah. Like, yeah, she's busybody. Like,
sure.
You know, in these sitcoms you have your busybody neighbor. And she's playing it off so well. So in the meantime, Vision tries to get into this neighborhood watch meeting, but it's basically just a bunch of male gossipers. He joins them and like, oh, I don't eat food between meals.
Right.
Yeah, because they offered him a Danish, and I don't know, somebody brings out a stick of gum, and he's like, oh, well, I'll take that, because I think he wants to try to fit in. So he's chewing the gum, and someone slaps him on the back, and now I almost wonder if that wasn't intentional.
Okay.
So he swallows the gum, and in like a very that era sort of way, you see this cartoonish sort of
robotic
like thing that, you know, you see the gum going down and getting stuck in his gears in an animated little overview, which was really cool. Let's cut back to, this is the scene with Dottie and Wanda with, you know, cleaning up and everything, and Wanda's like, you know, again, that tension is building, and Wanda's like, you know, we got off on the wrong foot and everything, and Dottie, babe, straight up tells her, like, you know, I don't like you. I don't know if she had straight up said that, but
no, well,
she's like, I've heard things about you and your husband. It's a very, very tense moment.
Wanda says people are looking at us like we're dangerous or something. And she's like, I think you are.
Yeah. And, you know, Wanda goes from like, to, and then you get the radio is playing, and this voice is coming up over the radio. Wanda, who is doing this to you, Wanda? And Dottie looks at Wanda and she's like, what are you doing? But it's like, again, a total break from this character that she's been playing. It's like, whoever she is, this is the real her coming out. Like, what are you doing?
What's going on?
What's going on? And then the radio breaks and Dottie's glass breaks and she bleeds red. And suddenly Dottie snaps back to normal and the tension is gone, just like with the hearts.
Yeah.
Very, very creepy and just great, like embedded within this very, like, in the context of these episodes where you're feeling at ease, they're sitcoms. It's very, like,
light and breezy
and calming, and then you get these moments of tension, and it's just, again, so well acted by everyone. Because I think and not that she's doing a bad job at all, like, she's doing a really good job, but I'm a little off put by Emma Caulfield just because I know her as Anya.
Sure.
Also as the Hansel and Gretel witch in Once Upon a Time, but whatever. And then we get another commercial within the episode. It has the same actor and actress from the previous episode's commercial, and it's an ad for Strucker watches with the Hydra logo.
Yeah.
So I don't know, is this where our theories align?
No, I mean...
Oh, okay.
You're going in a, what did they call it in S.H.I.E.L.D.? That Hydra-run alternate, Matrix-like world.
No.
That's not right.
No, I think Agnes is Hydra.
Okay. My theory, or my observation... So we had Kitty, and I didn't catch her name, Mrs. Hart was in the audience for the fundraiser. And also one of the guys at the neighborhood watch meeting, again, I didn't catch his name, but...
Watch.
Neighborhood watch. Toast.
At the end of the last episode is, oh, look at the time. But now this episode, and then now this one, it's... Yeah, it's...
And the last commercial was Toastmaster, and then they had a toast. I don't know. But, anyway. No, I was just wondering, because the 2 episodes that we've seen so far appear to be from different TV shows. I'm wondering, and, their house is different, and the era is different. I kind of think that even though we saw a few characters between the 2 shows, or between the 2 episodes, they were different characters.
But Agnes was the same.
Only Agnes was the same. Aside from Wanda and Vision, maybe. But, I mean, the guy that got fired at the beginning of episode 1 was part of the neighborhood watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, would everyone from the company all be in the same neighborhood? I kind of feel like even though they're recurring actors, they're playing different parts.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. So now it's a talent show, and Vision appears drunk, but it's because of the gum in his gears. And Wanda's freaking out from her whole thing that she had with Dottie. And, it's the talent show, it's for the children. For the children. So they go to do their magic act, and this is great. Vision has a great line. Tonight we will lie to you, but you will believe it because of your human disposition. And then Vision starts flying, but they play it off like it's a comedy high wire act. And lifting the piano, and Wanda makes a cardboard, and it's an illusion. And the guy from the last episode that got fired, he's like, that was my grandmother's piano. Or grandfather's, whatever. So at one point, then Vision puts a hat through himself, but it's, it's mirrors. The last one is the vanishing cabinet. What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? And it's Geraldine. Oh, yay. And it's, everyone's clapping. I noted that Dottie's eyes seem to be dark like Wanda's. And I don't know if that's just me looking too much into it or what, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. Then Wanda and Vision go in the back, and Wanda figures out that it's the gum in his gears. She gets it out. He's back to normal. They're like, okay, let's get out of here before Dottie yells at us. But it turns out that Dottie loves the act.
As a comedy act.
So they get awarded like a comedy thing. And again, it's one of those things where everything's going wrong.
But then just...
but everything turns out and it's all fine.
Just like the shows from those days.
Yeah. Everything gets wrapped up in a 30-minute thing and all is well. So Geraldine's like, but I don't understand. I was backstage and then all of a sudden I was in the box. And Vision's like, a magician never reveals his secrets. He leaves that to his assistant. And she's not talking. Seema was very pointed.
You gave me a significant look. I'm not sure what you're going for with that.
It seemed like it was kind of a subconscious thing, like whatever's happening to her in real life seems like it could almost be maybe torture. And she's not talking.
Okay.
So, for the children. And now Wanda's pregnant.
Yeah.
But then they hear, and she's like, is this really happening? And Vision's like, yes. But he's a machine.
Right. So they're back at the house.
Yeah.
They're done with that. With the show, and they kiss, and everything worked out fine. But when they pull apart from the kiss, I think. Well,
and she's like, I'm gonna go make popcorn for the children or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, Wanda, and she turns around and she's got this baby bump all of a sudden, and she's like, is this really happening? Yes. And then they hear the banging outside again, and again, it's very threatening. It's not like your typical, like, it's a... yeah. So they go outside, and they see a manhole cover moving. And a beekeeper comes out. And Wanda looks absolutely terrified. She says, no. She rewinds back to, is this really happening? Or is this real? Like, whatever. And yes, no banging sound. And then Vision gets color. And the rest of the house, like, the world is now in color. Wanda too. So do we get a 60s or 70s show parody next in color? Well, and I think Bewitched was 60s. Like, early 60s.
Okay. I'm just wondering, are they progressing through the decades?
I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you get one last, Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda, at the very end.
And also, I want to note that as things are turning color, she's spinning around. I can't tell if she's making it happen or just observing it happen.
Yeah.
But one way or another, I mean, they are aware of it.
Yeah. So, kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's very...
So far.
It's so off the wall, like, unlike anything we've watched. Either just, like, as a television show or within the Marvel Universe, like...
It's so wild that they chose to do something so bizarre in the MCU. But I was thinking about this, and I'm like... If any new show with original characters tried to do this, it wouldn't last.
No.
Networks would not allow them to be this creative and this subverting and this bizarre.
Because it's already part of an established universe.
Because it's got that MCU magic and it's on Disney Plus. The network is going to throw whatever resources they need at them to make this happen.
Yeah. Interesting side note, Christoph Beck did the score, and Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez, I think, is her husband's name, did the the theme song or whatever. Christoph Beck did the score for Frozen, and the Anderson Lopez's wrote the songs for Frozen. They are known for Let It Go. So I just thought that was an interesting little side note. Nothing to do with anything really, but
No, just a little.
Yeah, but no, I'm in it. And I think they are going to go through, like, your typical, you know, these are sitcoms from the 60s and 70s. You're probably going to get kind of like a Brady Bunch-esque sort of thing for 70s.
Sure.
80s. The 80s and the 90s kind of blend together for me as far as sitcoms go.
They do still have that family value kind of, but you could get like Full House, or you
Well,
could
and
get Family
I
Matters.
hope they do Full House.
That would be fun.
Because Elizabeth Olsen is the sister of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
They almost have to, really.
They really kind of do, and I will die if they have her use like a line that Michelle used.
How rude, or something.
No, that was Stephanie.
Oh, you're right. You got it, dude. Or
oh
something like
man,
that.
like, and they could very easily just kind of in there.
Just toss it in.
Just there.
Yeah.
You got it, dude. Hey. I hope they do that. So that's what I got. Like my big takeaway is when you're in it and you kind of forget what you're watching, it's like, oh, okay, it's kind of quirky and weird and, you know, very dated. But then you get those little moments of tension. And so, like, as a whole, I love it because it lulls you into this false sense of security, which is clearly what's happening in the real world. Whatever's happening in the real world, we don't know.
Yeah. But it makes you pay closer attention.
Yeah.
That false sense of security, and then occasionally that weird thing happens, and you just look a little bit closer, like that green hue. Like,
yeah. Well, this is one of those things too, where, you know, you get through the season, and you immediately are going to want to go back and rewatch to see, okay, like, let's start picking it apart here. Like, what we know now, what did they drop?
Yeah, because you're immediately aware that nothing is being done by accident.
Right.
There's probably very few random throwaway things in this show.
And if there are any random throwaway things, it's just to throw you off the scent.
Red herrings, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Really interested to see what they do.
Yeah. So.
I'm good.
Yep.